Welcome back to another Adobe Illustrator video using the Win32com library. All right, so in our previous video with this series, we kind of kicked things off and we started exploring what does the Adobe Illustrator allow us to do in terms of controlling it from Python. And we've seen pretty much like any other kind of COM object or COM object library that there's pretty much nothing we can't do. So if we want to be able to interact with documents, we can do that. If we want to be able to interact with the application, we can do that as well. And so in today's video, we're going to go to the next portion of our series where we're going to talk about the document object. Now, the document object, I get it. It's probably not the most exciting topic. However, it's a very important topic because the document is really kind of your entry point into all of the other collections. So if you don't know how to comfortably manipulate a document and reference it and then reference those collections and understand what's coming back from those different properties, you're really gonna have a hard time working with this object library inside of Python. And so you can kind of see some code right here. We're gonna just kind of recreate everything we're seeing here and just explore some of the properties. There's a ton of them. However, I don't want to go through every single one, but at least the important ones. So first things first is you do want to make sure that you have a Python file opened. And then once you have that Python file opened, you want to import the Win32com and then the client module. And then you want to import that as Win32. So you want to give it an alias. This will import the Win32com.client library, and then we're going to give it an alias name. Additionally, I will be showing you how to leverage constants inside of our code. So we're going to, again, from the Win32com library, we're going to import the constants. So the constants module, and then from here we're going to be doing another alias called WinConstant, or we'll just do WinConst. Okay, and then from here, the first thing we need to do is grab the Adobe Illustrator application. And then from here, a couple different ways to do it. If you don't know if the application is opened or not, then what I like to do is put it in a try except statement where it will try to grab the active object, but if it can't find it, then it will basically open it for us. And so Win32, there is a get active object method. And from here, you just need the program ID. So illustrator.application, this is the program ID. If it is open, guess what? It will grab that object and then we will have a latch onto it. If it doesn't, then what it's going to do is it's going to create a new instance of that library, but we're going to do it using early binding. And so if you use the generate cache module inside the Win32com package, what this will do is it auto generates Python code behind the scenes. So that way you can know the different types that are there and things along that nature. Doesn't really help us a lot when we're coding it inside of Visual Studio Code, but in a previous video for a series a long time ago that focused on Excel, this can be helpful if we want to see how the objects are returning different things. Then from here, we're going to do ensure dispatch, and then we're going to do illustrator.application. So just like we did up above. And once we have that particular application, then we can grab the document. Now, just like the previous example, I don't want to necessarily assume anything, but we will grab the document inside of the application. Again, I'm going to wrap it in this try except framework only because if the document doesn't exist, then I will show you how to add a document at the same time. So I'm going to create a new variable. We'll call it Adobe Doc. We're going to go into our application object. There is a property called active document. This represents the document that we currently see inside of our window. Now, just so you are aware, I do have some PDF file for you that gives you the documentation for the object model. So I will be uploading it to the GitHub page. So that way you don't have to sit there and have no idea what objects and properties go with the different objects, obviously, and then also the methods. Okay, so we're going to grab the active document if it's there. In this case, it is there. If it's not there, then what I'm going to be doing is I will be creating a new document using the documents collection. So I'm going to take my application. There is a documents collection, and then I will call the add method. I will then use the when constant module, and inside of there I can start writing or leveraging the constants I need to create a new document. Now, to create a new document, we need to provide the document color type, and then we need to provide the width and the height. Now, we can either pass through the enumeration value for the different document types, but if we want to make it a little bit more readable, then we will use the actual enumeration itself, the actual name of it. In this case, we want the CMYK color enumeration, and then I want the width to equal 300, and then I want the height to equal 200. Don't worry, I have all of the enumerations for you, so you don't need to grab them. They are right here for you. It's actually very straightforward. You just have to, it's basically just organized by the way in which they appear for the most part. So this is here if you need access to it. Also, if you want to go into the actual documentation itself, if you notice here, add, and then the document color space. And if you go here, you'll notice there is the CMYK color and then the document RGB color as well. So these are the document color space enumerations that we can leverage. And so right now we're doing the CMYK. And then from here, I can print the number of documents, in my collection. And from here, I will say print Adobe documents. Actually, I'll create a reference to the documents collection. So grab the documents collection, just in case we want it. I'll call this Adobe Docs. This will be my Adobe app, and then I'll call my documents collection. If you can hear that in the background, they are doing some construction near where I live. I apologize in advance. Okay, and then I will call the count property. That should return the count for us. Okay, you can see right here that I currently have one document open, so that looks great. Looks like everything is working just as we expected. That's perfect. From here, if I wanted to kind of show you how to close a document, there's another way you can do that as well. So I will actually just take this one and I will copy it, and I'm going to give it a new name. And then I'll actually put this down below so you can see that the count does truly change when you do it. So create a new document. This will count the number of documents. I could also grab a document name. So the documents, they do have names. And then from here, I can actually close my document. I can close that document if I need to. So I'll take that Adobe new doc. There is a close method. And then again, if you want, just as a little bit of a reference, if I go to my document object, I can see here, there's a ton of properties. There's not as many methods. And you can see here, close, it does have an optional argument called saving. This basically defines, do you want to save the changes? Do you not want to save the changes? I'm actually going to leave it out this time because at this point, I don't really care about saving it. It's a blank document, so it doesn't really do me a ton. So I will close it. You can see also it did provide a name for me, and then it also changed the count collection as well. So it does seem to be working as we expected. Additionally, I will do a couple things. I will print the file path. So I will take my original document. There is a path property that returns the full path. You do want to make sure it's uppercase. Sometimes it wants to do a little bit of a different thing. So I'll do that as well. And I probably should put it in a print statement to make my life easier. I know. Okay. And from here, I think with this one, because it's not actually saved, it's not actually saving a path. What I'll do is really quickly, I will save as. I'll just put it there for temporarily. Yeah, that's fine. I want to make sure you guys can see the path. Okay, so now you can see there is a path to it. Keep in mind, it does not include the name and the extension. So this is purely the path to it. Okay, so another big thing about the document object is it is the access point to a lot of different collections that belong to the object model. Probably a popular one will be the active layer. So this is the layer that's currently active in your document. So I've used this before. It's not necessarily a collection, but it is something where it's kind of nice to know it's there. I would say if you had to use like an Excel comparison, again, we have an active workbook, we have an active sheet, very similar to what you would see inside of a different thing inside of a Adobe document. So it's very similar. It does have a similar structure. It's just kind of our naming conventions are a little bit different. What I'll do is I'll print out the active layer.name. And then from here, I will also grab a few other properties. There is a page origin, and I believe, if I remember correctly, what is the page origin? Let me go to my properties. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I can see all of my options right here. This is really nice documentation. You just can't copy and paste it because apparently they decided to, I guess, lock it for some reason. I don't know why. So the 0 point of the page in the document without margins relative to the overall height and width. It will return a variant array of 2 doubles. For us in Python, it's going to return a tuple. So it will return a tuple. So I can print the Adobe doc, and then I will do the page origin. I want to make sure, oh, I forgot my I. Typical Alex, not spelling it correctly. Grab the page origin. Okay, that looks fine. I can also grab some other stuff. Grab the page height. I will print the Adobe doc height. I can also grab the page width, and then I will print the Adobe doc and then the width as well. I'll print this out so we have some stuff to look at. So we can see the page origin right here, so that looks good. So we can see the name of the layer that we grabbed. That's our active layer. If I go back to my document, that seems to line up nicely. I can see my layer 1. And then I have my origin, the height, and the width. That matches what I created up here. Well, not that one, this one. It looks like even if I want 200, then it makes it 300 for some reason. So who knows why that is? It probably has to do something with scaling ratios, I would imagine. Additionally, we can check the save status of our document. So I can look at the saved property. It returns a Boolean, true if it's been saved, false if it has not been saved. I can also print the Adobe doc and then the output resolution. So this is, I believe, the DPI, if I remember correctly. So this is kind of like the overall image quality of it. I could also print out the Adobe doc document color space. So this should return the enumeration that we have for this one. I think with CMYK, I think it's 1. I have to double check. It's 2. So CMYK is 2. We can see that the save status is true. The DPI resolution is 800. So again, so some very useful things. I can also print out my Adobe doc default stroke width. This is actually These ones are actually things that we can set values for as well. So I can say, hey, Adobe Doc default stroke width, I can set that equal to, let's say 20, I guess 20 points. And then I will actually put it here so you can see what it looks like after. Okay, so now it's 20. My strokes are huge. Those are absolutely huge. You will see that from probably a decent distance away. I can also look at other objects and kind of just demonstrate what would it look like if I wanted to kind of go to a different level and look at some of their properties. So I could ask a very specific question. What is the cyan color value for the default fill? So this is highlighting how you would take one object and then grab other properties from it. So I could take my Adobe document. I know there is a default fill color, and I know there is a cyan property that will return the value for that particular coloring. So when it comes to color objects inside of Adobe, they don't really have names per se. It's you have values. So you can change the cyan, the magenta, the black, the white, and I think like there's a yellow. I think maybe that's what I'm thinking of. So you can change all of those values and actually create very specific colors to meet your name. Additionally, you can grab collections like I mentioned up above. So we can grab the symbols collection, I'll grab the Adobe symbols. I will take my Adobe doc, call that symbols property that returns the collection. And for all of these collections, I'm just gonna be just printing out the count of each one of them, nothing super complicated, just demonstrating that there are a bunch of different collections that you can grab from them. There's also a symbols item, so grab the symbols items collection. Adobe symbols items equals the Adobe doc, and then the symbols items, and I'm sorry, not S, there's a symbol. And then I can print, like I did before, Adobe symbol items dot count. There's also the variable collection. So you can actually have variables inside of your document as well. Grab the variables collection. That's another one. Some of this we're just going to have to wait until we actually get to a situation where we need to use these collections, because right now they're kind of going like, well, that's great. What do I do with it? We'll see later down the road what we can do with some of these collections when necessary. It's kind of like when we did the, when we did the publisher application one to kick it off. A lot of it, we're just kind of exploring it. We're not necessarily doing anything super specific. We're just saying, okay, well, what are some of the collections that are there? Okay, now that we know what those collections are, what are those objects really representing in the bigger scheme of things? But we really have to kind of take it the first one. I can tell you right now, a collection we will be working with heavily is the text frame collection. This is a very important one. So we'll call this Adobe text frame. We'll take our doc, and then I will do the text frames collection. I will print the Adobe text frame and then the count as well. And then finally, our last collection that we will just show you how to get is the tags collection. We might want to add tags to our wonderful document. So I'll create a new variable, call it Adobe tags. I will grab my doc, and then I will do tags with that. And then I will print the Adobe tags dot count. Let's see what we have. Hopefully no issues. So here, this is the cyan value. This is the symbol count. There's 6 symbols. There are 0 symbol items, 0 variables, 0 text frames, and then 0 tags. Now, again, I am telling you right now, there are many more collections. There's a page items collection, a paragraph styles collection, place items, plugin items, raster items, patterns, path items. What's some other ones? Spots, swatches. What else? We already did variables, views. So there's definitely a few more collections there. It's a pretty extensive one. Gradients, graphic styles, graph items, group items. It's a ton, tons and tons. Brushes, compound path items. I think there's a data sets collection, stuff like that. So there's definitely a lot, and there's a few other properties as well. Not as many methods per se. You can cut documents, you can copy. So you can copy the current selection, you can cut current selection, activate, so bring it to the window. A lot of this though is you have to keep in mind some of this is not returning anything. Export PDF presets, print presets, export variables, import character styles, and so on and so on. So we will start exploring this as time goes on. We'll do things like copy and pasting and all sorts of other stuff. But really the goal of this video was just, hey, how do we start interacting with the document and how do we start grabbing certain collections? So that does it for this video. If you have any questions about some of the more simple aspects of the Win32Com object model related to Adobe, feel free to put those questions down in the comments below. Otherwise, we will see you in the next video where we will start exploring the layer object. So that's a fun one. That's where we can start organizing how all of our shapes are organized and stuff like that. So more fun to come. So we will see you in the next video.